On today's episode, we work on the 59 Caddy. Well, it's another beautiful Saturday morning here in Florida, and even though it's beautiful out right now, we've been having major rain showers in the evening, which we really do need. We're in kind of a drought season right now, but it is surface of the sun hot, and so filming in the shade for the time being. I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do today. I would really love to get the old 67 out and do a cruise and find something fun to do and film that, but I also need to really start getting back on some of the car projects here. For instance, I would love to get started on my wife's 54 Pontiac. There's a lot to do with that. Most of the restoration or refresh that needs to be done on that will be pretty much the same as what we followed on the 67. And I know I still owe you the final video on that. I am working on it. It's just been very difficult to get time lately to work on that final draft. But anyways, new, brake lines, brake system, fuel system lines, just rebuild the suspension, new fuel tank, and then figure out an electrical issue with the key ignition not working. I'm sure it's something underneath there that's either not making a good connection, could be just a bad ignition system on there that needs to be replaced. It's all original. The engine, we did get it running when we first got it, and it runs really cool. Quiet and no clatter, so there's nothing wrong that we're aware of the engine. There's no leaks out of the transmission, but I don't know anything about the transmission. The car hasn't run in 45 years, so it needs a lot of inspection before we try. We did do an oil swap on it, got a new 6-cylinder battery, 6-volt battery in it, and anyways, kind of stopped there because we were working on the Cadillac. Right now, it's piled up on the hood with a bunch of parts and stuff that was meant to go on my mom's car that got clipped in the front by a deer. And it's just cosmetics, fender, trim, headlight, and a internal fender lining, and a few other things, a bunch of clips that need to be taken out because it's crumpled. Rest of the car is fine. Well, there's a couple of dents in the back, but superficial that can be worked out. But we just haven't been able to get there. We finally got a weekend that was scheduled for that, and then it just didn't come to fruition. So in a couple weeks, though, I'm hoping that I am actually taking some time off. As I said in my previous video, we were doing a long-term project at work that was just taking the life out of me, and we finally wrapped that up for the most part. We're kind of trying to get back to normal. Of course, I'm digging myself out of 5 weeks of not paying attention to anything else, and but it has just zapped me. I have got zero energy, but I've got a bunch I need to work on. I'm hoping in a couple weeks, when I take a week off, I'm going to take a day, and we're going to get my mom's car fender and everything replaced. We got a new one here, and I'll show you that here in a second, but we got a new one there that's all been repainted. A friend of mine works at a body shop. He painted it for me, so it's ready to go. And if we can get her car done, we'll get rid of all that on top of the Pontiac, and that'll give me some space to do some work on it. And we're going to film that, of course, and her car needs a detail so bad. It's a 2009 Honda CR-V. She's on a fixed income, so we couldn't really total the car, even though that's what the insurance company wanted to do. So we kind of made an agreement. We won't ever file another claim related to that accident. And anyways, they wrote a check up to where they would not total it, and then we use that to buy the parts, get the paintwork done. So we'll do that. Finally, there's the 59 Caddy. It has become extremely beautiful curb art. It hasn't moved now in probably 6 to 8 months. Now probably about 6 months. And due to a bum transmission. The poor transmission was already, I knew there was something wrong with it. When I bought the car, I could smell that the fluid smelled burnt, but it seemed to be working fine. Didn't have any hesitation shifting gears. The only thing that we had was the reverse would lock up or would stick on it. You'd have to kind of slowly roll it backwards, put it in the park. It would then disengage the reverse assembly, that gear, and then you can go forward. I was told that that was a reverse cone spring that was either weak or failing, and Anyways, we lost a gear on that, and third gear. I stopped driving it, and then immediately the fuel tank dropped fuel. Figured that out. It was a simple fix. Basically the coupler come loose. It just didn't get tightened down just right, and it come loose. You can't see it because it's right behind the frame. You cannot get to it without basically pulling the tank. So we pulled the tank, fixed that, got that back up. It's not leaking fuel anymore. But then immediately after that, the power steering pump let loose, and it's like, good Lord. So between that and some other things that was going on with it, the driver's side window wasn't working. I really just needed to walk away from it. I need to do a video on some of the work that we did with the car when we first got it, because it leaked from every seam, I swear, of the motor. We got all that arrested finally, except for one spot in the back. Oh, passenger side valve cover, it's leaking when it's running. It's like weeping. And if it was a driver's side valve cover, I could yank it off and probably investigate it more. On the passenger side, the AC unit is bolted in over that, the bracket. It's only got that much clearance. So you're not taking the valve cover off without pulling that bracket out. And you have to pull 2 head bolts to do that. And even though I've done that once successfully, no problem, yeah, I don't want to get into that again unless I, really have to. So when I'm prepared to do that, we'll attack it. So got the rear main seal done. In it, it was leaking. We got the pan seal that I tried 3 times to get replaced and sealed. It just was a bear. I had to pile the motor up and block it up off the motor mounts to get just enough room, because the K-member actually contours to half of that pan. Very extremely hard to get to, and Pala owners know what I'm talking about. That's got their V8s in there. Anyways, finally ended up crying uncle on that, towed it to a friend of mine, and they took 2 times getting it right because it was just not wanting to seal, kept pulling the gasket loose. So anyways, we finally got that fixed. We got the car back on the road, and then the transmission went. So we need to check out the power steering problem. I also have a valve stem leaking, it appears. I think it's one of the extensions, because I can only, for a while, I had only one. I got the tires pumped up, but then the passenger rear would always go flat on it over a period of about 3 weeks. So I just pump air in it, pump in, and figured, one day once we get it running again, it'll probably seal back up. Well, now I can't get air in it. It'll go to about 10 pounds, and it just stops. And I've tried everything. Now, what I didn't do, well, what I have to do is I have to pull the fender skirt, pull the hubcap, and use the regular valve stem that's on the wheel. That works fine. So it's definitely with the extensions. I bought some extensions. I think I'm going to start with the easy fix first. We're going to swap one of those out, and I still have to pull the skirt. It's a pain in the butt a little bit. It used to be a little easier, but it just keeps getting worse. I might have to look at the skirt, see why the locking mechanism is fighting me. But anyways, I'm going to start with that maybe. And it started running hot the last time we had it running. When that was happening, when I first put it on the road, we pulled the return hose and found that there was a bunch of gunk that had landed on top of the thermostat. And we flushed out the radiator and everything in the motor, but I'm thinking that maybe that happened again. We even put a new thermostat in it because the old one was just so slow to open. So I'm hoping I can pop that top hose and find that there's gunk, vacuum it out, put it back together, and she'll run cooler. It's been sitting for a while, so the battery's probably dead. Most likely, I'm going to have to jumper the voltage regulator to retell the generator that it's a positive charge, and that way it'll start charging again. I had to do that the last time it sat for a while when we were fighting the rear main seal and the pan gasket, so we'll see. But I really would like to get it back up and running and see if the adjustments that I did with the TV rod at least allows the transmission to go forward in all 3 gears without too much problem. I followed the service manual on that and adjusted the TV rod at high idle, and I read that those high dramatic transmissions are extremely sensitive to that setting or that adjustment. If it isn't right, I have been told that transmission will not shift correctly. It will not fix the reverse gear assembly, because the last time I tried to put in reverse, it was grinding. So I'm pretty sure that reverse cone is broken, if that's what it was. But if I sit it on the road, so I should be able to pull it forward at least. If it will at least run forward with not a problem, then I can pull it back into its spot and call that a win. If I can, if we fixed forward motion on the transmission, that makes it way more easier to fix the reverse problem, because the reverse assembly will come out of the transmission while in the car. And if that's the case, that's perfect, because I can pull that assembly, that rear piece section, and we can either send it in to get it rebuilt, or we can figure out how to rebuild it, and we can pop it back in. And I won't really have a need for a lift, although sitting on my back in the middle of the road probably isn't the best scenario either, but at least I won't have to pull the transmission. That would be an extremely big win. But if we still have no difference moving forward, then the trans has got to come out. Now I have another trans that's on another hydromatic, turbo hydromatic, and that's not a turbo hydromatic, another dual coupling hydromatic that's on an engine stand in the garage. That fluid come out clean. It smells good. There's 0 leaks on the transmission. Now, of course, it's not under pressure, and I get that, but it's sat for 30 years. It was pulled from a 1960. It also has a 390 big block along with it. It's not here. It's at the previous owner's shop. He's got a big shop and was gracious enough to allow me to store some of the stuff there. I don't have room here. And, you know, if we reseal the front seal, the tail shafts, and maybe the cylinder seals, pull the throttle body, valve body, and do those seals, maybe we can get away with slamming that in there and making it work. And if we can at least get the car driving again, it doesn't have to drive every day like it was initially doing. All it's got to do is just go for cruises and, you know, pleasure drives. It doesn't need to be real fancy. So if we can get the car running again safely, then we can move on to other things and continue what I had started almost a year ago. So that's what's on deck today. Do I go out and have fun and film some places? There's a couple places I really would like to take you to. One is a local place that has some older cars, and they're anywhere from probably old restores that need restoring to barn finds. And it's a lot full of these. They're open to the public on under most days. I can't remember if they're open on Saturdays, and I don't like to trespass. There's no fence around. It's like you can pull right in and look around, but I still would like to get permission. I really want to go there. I really would like to film that with you guys. But honestly, I really should spend some time on the Caddy, and I think that's what we're going to do today. I am trying not to get unrealistic goals. I'm trying to do some stuff today to see if we can get forward progress on the 59 without ending up working out here until midnight, because at some point in time I really do want to wipe this down and take it out, even if it is just for lunch. So bear with me, stick with us. We're gonna go through a few things on the Caddy and see if we can just tell what's up. And if it just turns into a little bit of you know, too much, then I'll reserve that work for another day when we have a lot more time and I have a lot more energy, because I am still recovering from this past project. So I don't even want to be out here right now, to be honest with you. I want to be in sleeping, but that's not really practical, and I'm not that type. So here we are. We're going to see if we can't do some forward progress here on the 59. So as I was alluding to before, we had already dropped the fuel tank on this. We replaced a couple really bad lines and put a new sending unit in it. Well, we repaired the first sending unit and it didn't allow the gauge to work right, but we at least tested it, but it was very weak on ohms. But we made sure the tank was clean. We put new couplers in for the lines and for the fill, and then later it dumped again, and that's because that coupler from the tank come out. It's in an alcove and it sits behind a frame, can't get to it. So we had to take it back out while we had it out, put a new sending unit in, which allowed the gauge to work better. It's still not accurate, but it's working way better than what it was, and probably more accurate now, the fuel gauge, than what it used to be. So now we're just trying to figure out, why can we not get air in here? So being I can take the time to take all this off and get air in the tire. I just believe that this valve stem extension is gone. So it's the first easy, quick repair we can try. What I don't like is that the more I work with these skirts, the worse, the more they don't want to unlock or work. So it's been a challenge to get these to unlock like I need in the past. But we'll see what happens today. It might just come right loose. Who knows? And it turns. It's almost like, yeah, I don't know. Let's see, it's supposed to go, because it's locked that way. I think it's supposed to go like this, to be honest. Let's try it. No. So it's gonna have to go this way. It doesn't want to turn the other way. It's been a minute since I've done this, so. And I don't know if this is slipping in it because it doesn't look like it's turning at all. There we go. There we go. Now we'll get this off. I didn't bring anything to pull that on. Good job, Kelvin. Well, I'll probably just use this. So I'm going to do a quick test with the, that thing, the one that provides air to the tire. Anyways, the air compressor, just make sure that I am not dreaming and that I can actually get air in this tire, no problem. And then I'm not going to fill it up all the way, obviously, because I need to make sure the valve, the new extension works. So if my theory is right, I'll put the new extension on it, it'll work. Then we can move on to the more complicated issues. So my air compressor sits over here behind the Pontiac, and I spent for one of these nice wall-mounted retractable units. And it's a 50-foot hose, so while I can reach just about everything in the driveway and almost out to the street, can't reach the Caddy. So this is the original 50-foot hose or 25-foot hose. I'm pretty sure that's 50. That I had on the tank. And basically, when I added this, I just attached this, and I've got all the room in the world. I could reach the neighbors down the street at this point almost. Makes it quite handy when you can't get a car into the driveway and it's out by the street. Basically, I could reach my next door neighbor's driveway at this point. I don't know why I thought I could attach it there, but that's okay. So I'm talking and I ain't paying attention. And the cool thing is this is long enough. I barely need to pull the extension out, which is great. Oh, and this is probably one of the best tools I bought. It's a Harbor Freight special, and that's okay. I'm not running a repair shop here, and I love it. I mean, I have had the standard, air wands before with the gauge, and I got this one with an analog gauge. I just don't like digital. I just prefer analog in some cases. with the quick connect, best thing I could have done. Yeah. All right, let's see. Right now I have 15 pounds of pressure, so it actually has more than I thought. I thought I could only get to 10. And that was all it would do. And automatically it's almost to 20. All right, so definitely a valve stem extension problem. So let me go get one of the new ones because I'm not smart enough to bring it with me, because I like to run back and forth 8 or 9 times. Gets my exercise in. This is what I got. Slim. Nothing special about the brand, just what I got. So we will put this on and see if we have success. And if that's the case, I'll finally be able to maintain this tire better. Eventually, we want to take this down and have it looked at, see if we can get the bead to reseal. My assumption is that's the problem. But it's an assumption. There could be something in the tread that I picked up right before parking it, but I don't think that that'd be the case. Oh, we'll plug this in. Let's see if we have success. All right. Nope. So these quick connects I have found. Oh, there we go. No, doesn't like that. This is a problem I had before. I actually broke one of these quick connects, blew the valve stem right out of it on one of these because I was trying to get it seated on. So it's literally bypassing it. I've never really seen anything like that before. Maybe it's because it's too shallow. Maybe I put it down too far. Let's do that. See what happens now. Just loosen it up some. Nope, it just flat doesn't want to work. That is interesting. Why would it not? So there's a ball on the end of this, right? I'll tighten it a little bit more. See, it seeds on there, but then I go to put air in it, and it's not pushing that ball down. Yeah, it's not working. But I'm successful on all the other tires. That's what doesn't make sense. So it must be, I wonder if this has got a, I don't know, right there. I don't think it's long enough, to be honest with you. I think this is too shallow to go down and depress this. I wonder if I can modify it. I think what's happening is it's hitting the rubber. I don't know, it's got space there. Nope. So it's just not working. It's not made for this, I guess. I'll have to figure that out later. It just sucks to have to pull the skirt and the hubcap just to put air in this tire every 3 weeks. So, all right. And even, uh-oh. Now what? This is sort of what happened to the last one. When I tried to use one of these, it's like the pin come out and then just shot its way out. Because now this isn't closing, it's hitting that. Huh. That's interesting. There we go. No. Actually, that may not be a bad idea. definitely coming through this, but it's also seeping through here. Yeah. A lot of back pressure. There we go, working again. Anyway, so valve stem extensions don't work. Obviously it's the design. There's something different with the design for this extension versus that. So maybe what I do is I pull an extension off one of the fronts that isn't having an issue, try it back there, see if it works. I'm down for that. So I think I'll stop at 30 pounds. I still need to put 5 into it. I think I'm going to do that. Alright, so we'll pull this. Actually, I probably don't even need to pull this. I guess I don't need to pull this. Now this has a seal in it on the end. These are definitely different designs. Let's see what happens on the back. Alright, so I think the first thing I probably should do is take this top hose off and make sure that there's nothing peep down in there. Make sure there's no rust or chunks sitting on top of that thermostat, because that would make it run warm at an idle. Of course, it is a big block. It probably doesn't like sitting on an idle for a long time. I didn't think it was the last time it ran warm, but I just checked the radiator and it's actually got fluid in it. So even though it purged fluid onto the ground, and it wasn't like a lot, but it was purging out, it didn't lose a lot of fluid. It still got fluid in the radiator. But however, I got a drain pan down there. We're going to drain the fluid out best we can. That way we don't lose too much up here onto the ground or onto the motor. And we'll take that apart and just peep down there and see what's there. If it's clear, that's great. Then, you know, I know the thermostat was working. Maybe it's sticking again. The new one, maybe it just didn't like sitting here running without moving. And then next, I'm going to look at the power steering, see if I can get that tightened down and hold fluid. And then we'll fire it up and make sure that the power steering works without it blasting fluid everywhere. And if that is fine, then we might actually try to put this in drive and see if it'll go forward. So while that is draining, I was just looking at this cap, and you know, I mean, it's possible this isn't working either. I haven't done anything with it. I haven't replaced it. I mean, I know I don't see anything coming up through here, but right, that could be a problem. It's not keeping pressure. Anyways, the thought. So if you haven't seen the Chevy Big Block 390 and you're curious, we'll just do a quick tour here. This is your blow-by cap. So yeah, that's what happens. So instead of a PCV valve, it has just basically it breathes through that breather cap, and if you got crankcase pressure pushing out the oil, then you're going to get a little residue there. So that happens. That is the fuel pump. And that is the bowl, which I actually had to replace the seal on that. And that was fun. Learned how to take one of those apart. It's not hard. It's just a little, undo this like a brake booster cap, and when you unscrew the nut on the bottom, it just basically loosens that, and then you can pull it aside and drop the bolt, and then the filter's inside. This is where the oil filter canister goes. It's a metal canister that gets dropped in there. You do fill the canister up for putting oil in the motor when you change it. I probably will end up having to take this off. I might as well just do that now, because the primaries, they stick. And this is heavy. I mean, it's damn heavy. Ugh. Anyways, got a Carter AFB 4-barrel. It will not crank because the needles are sticking in the back. I have to pour gas. Once they get soaked, they'll unstick and then it'll idle. So I will have to do that. Coil is in back. Distributor is in back. Now, as I was saying, if this driver's side valve cover was weeping on the back, that'd be no problem taking out. It does have new gaskets both sides. Power steering. Single job brake booster. This is leaking here. This will have to be addressed at some point in time. Single reservoir. But what I was saying is, when she's running, it does weep from back here, even though we've tried to straighten out the valve covers, which were beat up a bit, puckered down. We put them on a straight edge. We probably didn't do the best of jobs. It was late at night because it took forever to get this compressor and its mounting bracket. See what I'm talking about? What a pain. Why would you design it that way? So, yeah, this valve cover don't come off so easy. And of course, we all know when you try to break loose head bolts, intake bolts, what that can do. If you're not careful, you don't heat them, cool them, heat them, prep them. We all know what that does. Brake snaps off, and then you're in real trouble. And this, the old Delco Remy generator, which still works, by the way. And this is your voltage regulator. I had to take the back off of that, the cover, and I had to jump it. The two posts, and right at this second, I can't recall the post. You have a battery post, generator post, and there's one other, probably ignition. Anyways, jumper the two, spark, knock your ass out onto the road on your butt, get back up, fire it back up, and then she charges, typically. Yes, there's a term for it, but my old brain can't come up with it right now, and I didn't Google it before I got on this video, so there you go. I admit it. Here's the funny part. That is the windshield washer container. When windshield washer motor's there, it doesn't work. It just spins. So the armature, something's wrong where the arms go back and forth. So it spins and the arms don't move, so the windshield wipers don't move. Yay me. That was fun in some rain last summer. But that is the tour of our 390 big block. As far as Derek Gary says, the block of bigs. Sorry, I don't really like copycat people, but I love Vice Grip Garage. Shout out to David Freiberger and his channel. They're all big names. We all watch them. Finnegan's Garage, I watch him too, and Dave Chappelle with their head shed. Those are, I don't know them. I've never met them, but I follow them. Love their shows. Sort of my inspiration as far as like my content, but I started out doing this as an encouragement to others because Mustang sat for so long. I didn't think that I had the time, the money, And a lot of my skills, what I did have, was probably lost, forgotten. I just didn't think I had the time. And then I was posting all these, once we did get going, with the help of my friend Bob Moran and several others, getting the Mustang back on the road, learning new things. I hadn't learned a lot with my dad, but then there was new things that I was learning I never had patience for. So I started documenting it. Not to brag, but I had friends, bunch of them, same way, where their cars were sitting, they weren't getting done, and they were in the same boat as me, family, things going on, finances weren't there. And I learned that if you're just willing to learn, and there's some things you just can't do. I mean, I don't have a lift, so there's a lot that I still can't do, but I either do it on my back or I have to borrow a lift. But if you're willing to learn, willing to get dirty, just willing to have patience, willing to take failure and try again, you can do a lot of this on your own without a big budget. It still takes money. Sometimes I can't do the things I want to do. There's not AC in the 67 yet, and I want AC so bad. Just don't have the $2,600 right now, unfortunately, to spend on it. It'll come. It'll happen. It just isn't going to happen right now. And anyways, same with this. AC doesn't work. At some point in time, I'd like to address that. I don't know if I will or not. But anywho, but to get the car running out and where you can enjoy it, at least drive it, show it off, and let others enjoy it. I mean, yeah, I got a transmission. It probably ends up going to need rebuilding. And I don't have the money that they quoted me to do it, $7,000. But so I might have to learn to do that myself. And you know, a lot of people say, well, you spend that kind of money and time and you break it and it's not good, and I got to do it all over again. Okay, yeah, well, if I don't do it, I'm never going to learn. So you can't learn if you don't do. So you just do. Sometimes you can't think about it. I get paralysis by analysis a lot. But anyways, we have that 60. We're going to try to slam that in and get that running. The goal, not today, but the goal is to get this up and running work and go to shows again. It doesn't have to be, you know, cannonballing across the country. But anyways, regardless, that's why I do this, is because I want to encourage others who may think they can't do this, that you could do this. Because if I could do this, if I could do work, if I can learn, I'm not a pro, but if I can learn how to do stuff, make it work or come close and then fine tune it later, you can. Trust me, because I'm the poster child of the one that probably, you know, never had the experience I had, and it's all backyard shade tree mechanics, but you know, we get the job done. And my dad was the same way. He turned that into a business, and it's a very successful business. But anyways, yeah, that's why we do these videos, is because I want you have a car sitting in the garage, or you want a car, look around, be patient. Look, they're out there. You can find deals still. There's a ton of them that's going for stupid money, and I wouldn't pay for it even if I had the money. But you can find these cars, and if you want to learn how to do things on it, you can get these on the road, and they may not be perfect, but you can enjoy them. And they're back to life, and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, that's driving. All right, so we've drained the as much antifreeze out as we can, so I'm closing the top cot, lock that down, and then we'll open up this top hose and see what we have. And once again, the curved, contoured hand here, part of the K member, is what gets in the way of a lot of things, unfortunately. Even getting pliers down in there, anyways, is a challenge. And we'll see if this is blocked. Did I get too big of a screw? So this is an inset hose clamp. Not sure if you can see that. So, believe it or not, I think that's... Oh, I see. It's broken. How do you like that? When the hell did I do that? Okay, then. No wonder it wasn't working. I gotta be at an angle. Which, yeah, I'm gonna have to get a new screwdriver. I didn't know I broke the end off on that. Crap, let me go get another one. Yeah, I have zero clue when that happened, to be honest with you. I mean, I must have broke it off working on the 67 at some point in time recently and didn't realize it. Broke that tip at an angle. So, I guess I'll be looking for a new Craftsman screwdriver, flathead, long barrel. Oh yeah, the breather cap is in the way of, or the breather tube, fill tube, is in the way of that coming up. Interesting. These out front like this, but it makes it more practical. That's got quite a flare on it. Those I think is cracking inside as I'm finagling it. I have not changed the hose on this car since I've got it. I planned on it. Somebody told me this was a factory style hose that's in the Pontiac Oakland Club. They said they're supposed to be ribbed like that. I said, okay, that's cool. Bottom one is not. So that's sure been replaced at some point in time. But as I'm maneuvering this, I'm feeling what feels like the hose actually giving way, like it's cracking possibly in the inside. I don't like that at all. Trying to loosen this to get it out of the way, but fill tube's in the way, so it won't let me go any further.
You want.
Alright, let's see if my suspicions are confirmed here. Oh yeah. Yep, sure enough, there's a bunch of crusty crap on top of that thermostat. Well, it's funny, time is kind of getting away from me because, one, I got a little bit of a late start. It's the weekend, so I don't have to be in a rush. And I'm slow. I just take my time and stuff anyways. No, I'm slow. I am. As I'm working with this, it takes a little bit to get some of these through. Had one of my neighbors stop in and chat for a while. And then I just got this hose off and was walking to get my wetback, and another gentleman stopped by, saw me working on the car. We got to talking, so he showed him the Caddy, the Mustang, the Pontiac, took some time visiting, so that was really cool. So yeah, time's starting to get away from me now, because now since that happened, I also had somebody else stop by that I'm signing a contract with, and so we also had some of that. So I've actually been pretty much delayed now about 2.5 hours just in spurts, off and on working on this, and I really haven't got very far. And now the rain clouds are popping up, they're forming. So pretty soon here we're going to start hearing some boom booms, and that'll shut us down for the evening. But anyways, back at it. We're going to take the wet back, and I don't have an attachment to get into a small space like that, so I guess I'm going to have to do my best and try to suck as much of that rust and water out of there off of that thermostat. And then I got to go get a hose because I still haven't gone and done that yet, and time's burning away from me. So we may not even get it fired up today. We'll see if I can get at least a fire over and run for a little bit and make sure I don't have any leaks for coolant or power steering. That would be a plus. I don't have to take it for a drive and test out the transmission, though that would be nice if I could get that far, if it'll even move. We don't even know, right? We haven't been able to test it since I did the TV rod adjustment. So anyway, back at it. All right, so I've gotten a lot of rusty stuff out, but there's still a little bit of particles in there. I don't have an attachment. I just wonder if I could make this work and get those few little more particles out. My God, that worked. Everything's out. That's nice. Hey, improvising. All right, so I got the rusty chunks out from on top of the thermostat, and I was thinking I probably should maybe look at the power steering hose, but it's clipped on, and I can't really tell much until I get the engine running. So I think what I'll do is I'll stop now. I'll pick some of this stuff up, get it away, and we'll get the 67 out and head to the parts store and get us a new front or return hose. So, and then put the coolant back in the car. That way, when we put power steering in it, we can see if we can get it fired up and test to see if it's blowing power steering out, if it truly is that it's just loose, or if it's something else going on. And then we'll go from there. Alright, so we are heading to the parts store to get a new hose, return hose, for the coolant system on the Caddy. I got a hose that should work. It's long enough and the right shape. I will have to cut some extra off the back half and maybe a little from the front, but otherwise it should work. Oh, so now what am I gonna do? Gonna do for lunch? Am I gonna go out or eat at home? Do I want to spend money out, or do I want to eat at home for free? Do I want a steak dinner or ramen noodles? maybe it's not a steak, maybe cheeseburger or PB&J's. Because I don't cook. Although I do make a mean pumpkin spice pancake. Ask my wife. She'll say there's nothing else like it. I make it like cake. Thick, fluffy. Like me. Alright, so here we go. We got the old hose and the new one here. And as you can see, it is just about the right size, right shape. Just going to need to trim off some on the ends here, but otherwise should work. Doesn't have the spring inside, so, and it's about the right diameter. So anyways, we'll cut off part of this hose on the bottom first. I'm going to cut it a little long. By the way, the desire to spend more money on a vehicle than myself for lunch won out, so PB&J's it was. I was able to make a much nicer cut than the last time. And just sizing it, I actually think the original was cut a little long actually, because it was pushed back a little bit when it was connected to the thermostat housing, but it wasn't kinked at all. I think I'm going to cut a little more off the front here towards the radiator, kind of take some pressure off the hose. Alright, so I did trim some more off the front side, and it fits quite a bit better now. It's still high a little bit here, but I also noticed this has got a notch in it. That's Scotch-Brite. That means I don't know what that means. That's weird. Maybe it's notched for the hose here, actually deeper. So it's actually expecting that to rise a little bit. Huh, I never noticed that till just now. Alright. Can you guys see what I'm pointing at? No, you can't. Here and here. So it's almost like they expect that. Much deeper cut. I don't think somebody beat that in. I think that's factory. So, very interesting. I just noticed that. So anyways, I think it's a little high. I think I do want to cut that down just a hair on the other end. So we'll do that real quick. Alright, trim just a little bit off on the back side here. Let's see how that looks. Yep, I like that better. Now that's nice and straight. It's down on there. Now, this hose, a little large, well, a little larger than the other one. The other one was a little thicker and just a slight diameter shorter. But I'm going to err on the side of caution. I didn't really have a choice. I'm going to clamp this down as hard as I can and just hope that it doesn't leak. If it does, I guess I'll be on the hunt for another hose. Alright, that's back in place. Not crimped up. Should be able to put coolant back in. There's definitely weather moving through. There's a storm coming right from the south of us, and it ain't that far away either. Hearing boom booms getting closer every once in a while, so we get a good crack of light, and it's probably going to stop us. But what I've been doing, cleaned out this filter on this funnel. That way when we pour coolant back in here, we're going to get more in there. I'll clean it out again, but we'll get started at least. Roll, but we're putting coolant back in. It does have some rust in it, chunks, so we got the filter cleaned out. That'll catch most of it. Right now it's pretty clear, but as we get to the end of this, it'll start clogging the filter up. Not probably clean it again. Alright, I'm stopping for two reasons. One is the phone is running out of battery, which is unusual. It was fully charged when I started this venture, but I think between running the microphones and this heat and the video is just draining it faster than normal, because it was fully charged. But I usually, for this type of stuff, I can go well in almost to the evening, and it's not quite there yet. Other thing is storm. It's rolling in. It's booming. I'm gonna kind of hang out and take a rest anyways. I need to hydrate. I'm gonna hang out a minute and see what this does. I think it's scraping around the south of us and gonna move around, but it's close enough we can get struck by lightning. So, and even sitting where I'm at now, I'm at risk, but I'm gonna kind of hang out for a minute and or for a few minutes and see how this works out. We had all the coolant back in. I just had to clean the filter a couple times, see what was in there, the sediment that was floating around. That's what was on top of that thermostat. Guarantee you that's what was probably making it run hot. So probably need to do another flush on the system, but that's not going to be a today thing. I really want to get power steering fluid in it, make sure we get that buttoned up, and make sure it's holding, and then see if we can actually fire it up and move the car. Make sure we get power steering bleed. I may have to bleed the power steering too. I don't know how that's going to work, but yeah, and if we don't, we don't. You know, I'm not in a rush. I've made more progress today than I have in the last 4 months, so yeah, you know, any little movement forward is a good thing. Well, unfortunately, this little summer shower is growing and becoming more and more active. The rain is now starting to fall and wrap around us, and it's definitely coming this way. The thunder is getting closer between lightning strikes, which means it is approaching. So anyways, that shut us down. Fortunately, we didn't get to everything we wanted to do today, but that's okay. We made some progress. We have recapped. We basically got a new coolant hose on because this one was falling apart. We confirmed my suspicions that it was running warm the last time because of the crud that was coming out of that hose and settling on top of the thermostat, the new thermostat we put in. So that was probably causing the overheating. We also checked the tires, made sure that we could get them inflated, and there was something else that we did, and all of a sudden I can't think of it because I was rushing to get things put up for the storm. But anyway, so next up will be make sure we got the power steering pump sealed and can hold fluid, and then we'll see if we can fire it up and then see what happens with the transmission since my TV rod adjustments. All right, so thank you guys for following. Sorry it ended up being such a short adventure, but hey, progress is progress, and we'll see you very soon. You guys have a blessed day. See you on the streets. Well, remember I said I wanted to get the Mustang out today. Well, it's going to be for dinner, not for lunch. So my wife and I decided we were going to take our chances with the weather and take the old girl out to Shake Station, our favorite 50s diner here in Ellington. And they never disappoint. What a great place to come for a meal, and milkshakes, ice cream, you name it. Best little roadside diner around.